Good evening. My name is Anthony Gomez. I'm a proud 2008 graduate of Cuyahoga Falls High School, and it's my joy to serve as the president of your Board of Education. And it's my honor tonight to get to introduce our Distinguished Service Awardee, who is a dear friend of mine. Distinguished Service is, in a way, like an honorary alumni, somebody that didn't graduate from this high school, but has done so much for our school community that they deserve to be recognized. And I couldn't think of anyone more fitting than Karen Schofield. She's dedicated her entire life to two things: community service and public education. She served as a teacher and an educational administrator in many local school districts, including Stowe and Kent. Upon retirement from her career, there was an opening on our Board of Education, and Karen did what she does best. She evaluated the opening, looked at her skill set, and said, "I can do this." And so she stepped up, and she served 9.5 years on our Board of Education, 8 of those years as president of the board. Now that she's no longer on the board, retired once again, she serves our community in many other ways. She's on our levy committee. She was out there putting up almost every yard sign you saw and then taking them down right after a successful passage. She serves on the YMCA board and sells tickets to their fundraiser that she'd like you to know she has on her person if you're really interested. She volunteers for the Humane Society of Summit County, where she plans and executes their fundraisers as well. And she's a guardian ad litem for the Summit County Juvenile Court, which is some of the most important work that any person in our community can do. But Karen always does two things with any position she sits on. She uses her voice to advocate for others. As a school administrator a long time ago, she was interviewing people for an administrative position, and she took a chance on a young lady named Christine Fowler-Mack, and she gave her her first job as a school administrator. Now that woman serves as the superintendent of Akron Public Schools, one of the 10 largest public schools in the state of Ohio. So you can see the impact that Karen's made. But I want to take you back to 2017 and show you how Karen's still making an impact for our students every day. The board at that time was having a conversation about an emergency levy. Never popular to talk about wanting to ask the community for more money for our schools. It's a difficult sell. But we needed things. We needed roofs that didn't leak. We needed parking lots that weren't full of holes. And there were a lot of conversations about those things. But Karen used her position, and she used her voice, and she said, if we're going to ask the community for things that our schools need, we need better curriculum. We need better books. We need books that aren't from the 1990s anymore. And Karen went out, campaigned hard for that levy. It passed. And now, this year even, at Richardson and Price, we have a K-5 literacy pilot that kids are super excited about. They're achieving in ways we couldn't believe. And we could only afford that because Karen used her voice to advocate for our students. Next year, that'll be at all 6 of our elementary schools, and we're going to roll out a 6-12 literacy program. And all of that continues to be possible because she saw a need and she used her voice. And so it's my great honor to introduce my dear friend, Karen Schofield.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Gomez, for the introduction, and thank you to the Cuyahoga Falls Foundation and Alumni Association. I'm certainly honored and humbled to receive this Distinguished Service Award. To the seniors who have just about completed one of life's most significant milestones, please accept my sincere congratulations. And to the parents and school staff who have supported these young people throughout this journey, thank you as well. When I received the letter telling me I had been selected to receive this recognition, the letter also said I should prepare a few remarks, some that especially could be directed toward our graduating seniors. So I asked myself, in the short time we have together this evening, what can I give you? What words should I say? What message could I give, or what story should I tell that might be of value to you? After some thought, I decided to share with you two major guideposts for my own life and how I came to discover them. I offer this to you tonight in hopes of giving you something you can take with you. In order to share these two guideposts, I first need to tell you a couple stories about myself. When I first began driving, I would occasionally need to use the family car. And back in those days, it really was a family car because there was only one car for the entire family, and there were 8 of us. Before I would leave the house, my parents would always say to me, "Karen, drive safely." Now they could have said, "Karen, wear your seatbelt, use your turn signal, observe the speed limit, keep your eyes on the road," and so on. But they would just say, "Karen, drive safely." It was that simple. I learned that in saying just that little bit, in fact, they were saying quite a lot. Keep this story in mind as I share with you my second story. You heard in my introduction that my life's work has been in public school education. I'll skip over the first part of my career when I received a chalkboard for Christmas and forced my siblings and neighbor children to play school every day, and move on to when I was in college, studying to become a teacher. One of the topics we studied was classroom management. In other words, how do you create a learning environment so that kids do their best work? So we learned the value of classroom routines, we learned about seating arrangements, and we learned about the importance of classroom rules. So they'd send us future teachers out into various classrooms in multiple schools to watch experienced teachers teach. When I was in those classrooms, I'd take notice of the classroom management strategies, but in particular, the classroom rules. I saw a wide variety of rules posted. You might have seen some of these yourselves. They included such things as no tattling, no fighting, no bullying, no interrupting, no late work accepted. Keep your hands and feet to yourself. Sometimes the rules were written in a more positive tone. Do your best work, be a good listener, show good effort, be respectful, come prepared. I took notes on all these lists because I knew that when I started my own teaching career, I would have to have not just a classroom management set of strategies, but also some classroom rules. So I graduated, and I was happy as can be to be hired to teach. And as I started to get ready for the school year, I thought a lot about all those rules that I saw posted in all those different classrooms. And I wondered, how could I sort through all those lists to find the ones that were just right? As I continued to think about it, I kept coming back to my parents simply saying, "Drive safely." And by saying just that much, they said a whole lot more. So after much thought, I decided to have a simple set of classroom rules as well. Using "drive safely" as my guide, I tentatively settled on 2 simple rules: be kind and work hard. Then I held those 2 rules up against many of the rules I had seen posted in those classrooms that I had visited. Would "be kind" or "work hard" fit if a student was interrupting, if a student was unprepared, disrespectful, turning in careless or incomplete work? What about bullying, being off task, copying, name-calling, taking other people's things, fighting? Would "be kind" and "work hard" work? My answer was yes. Now, did those 2 simple rules cover every possible thing that could ever happen in a classroom? No, but those 2 rules sure covered most of it. As the school year progressed, Being kind and working hard not only became part of who we were in our classroom, they extended beyond our classroom to hallways, cafeteria, school bus, and so on. So now fast forward in my career when I became a school principal. And once again, I pondered what types of rules would be most effective for an entire building of 600 kids that spanned 7 grade levels. Would the same rules work for kids turning 5 as well as those approaching 13? Would the same 2 simple rules, be kind and work hard, be enough? I decided the answer was yes. And each day, as part of the morning announcements, as everyone was welcomed into a new day of learning, there was a reminder to be kind and to work hard. It became obvious as we spent time with our students each day that they quickly came to know what these things looked like and what these things felt like. It also became apparent to them when these things were not present, and they used those 2 rules to monitor themselves. In a relatively short period of time, be kind and work hard not only came to define who we were as a school community, but for many of us, including myself, they also became a personal guidepost. So now you've heard my stories and how a simple Karen drive safely led me to be kind and work hard for my classroom rules, my school rules, and my personal guideposts. And now that brings me to you. Perhaps those 2 guideposts will resonate with you as well. And if they do, bring your personal talents and strengths to the table under an umbrella of kindness and hard work. Use these guideposts to help you strive to be the best version of yourself each and every day. Thank you all so very much for this recognition and your attention, and be kind and work hard.